Is it a good idea to buy a classic Mercedes right now? Is it a good idea to buy a classic Mercedes right now? So we're in the midst of an epidemic, a recession, actually a global pandemic, that's the word, an uncertain economy, and I don't know, just generally like a bad time for everybody to buy a car. Or is it? Now, I've learned something about recessions, and that's when you get a good deal on things. But are there any good deals to be had right now? Let's look at it. First of all, I would say that at this moment, at this time, if you don't have the disposable income to spend on a classic car, don't buy one. That applies at any time, but especially right now, because nobody's job security is really guaranteed. The second thing is that if you are buying a classic car for an investment, right now is a really bad time, because I don't think that classic cars are a particularly good investment. And I think that they're an even worse investment in the face of a global pandemic and possibly a recession. And then last but not least, I think it is possible right now to find an opportunity to buy the right car at a very fair price. Now, you, my viewers, and I all are here because we love these cars. And I think there could be an argument made for buying a classic car at the moment that involves two potential scenarios. The first potential scenario is that you want a car you can use that is not a new car. So if you live in a good climate and you want to buy a 123 diesel and you want to use it every day, fine, proceed as normal. You know, if you've saved the funds for it, just don't overpay for the car. Second of all, if you have saved up the money and you're not worried about income security, because some of us, some of us are actually doing okay. Like if you're in the medical profession, you're probably, and you don't have any pre-existing conditions, you're probably okay. Now there are some exceptions to that rule, but right now might be a good idea. Right now might be a good time to buy the car you want. Not immediately, but prices have to fall somewhat. Every time there is a recession, the price of a certain good, whether it's a house or a car or land or a plane, has to go through a period of market adjustment. So the market adjustment to the classic car market has not occurred yet. The market adjustment is going to occur once we sort of realize, once we come out of this COVID sheltering in place thing and we start counting our cards and looking at where we are at, the market is going to dramatically shift, and that's when we're going to feel the changes in the market. So you might have some people that are coming out of COVID counting their cards in their hand, and they have like a 1985 300 SD with 12,000 miles sitting in their garage, and they're like, what can I cash this in for right now? That car is going to bring down the price of all the other cars. And we're going to see cars like that are market definers. Then on the other hand, you're going to have these other Mercedes that are actually really decent high mileage cars that are going to be readily available for extremely low prices. So if you wanted to pick up, let's say, a well-maintained 85 300 SD, or like a really clean 190e 2.6, or a 1972 280 SE, you might actually have an opportunity to buy one of those cars in a new market at a new value in a few months. It doesn't mean that the cars aren't going to recover, they're not valuable, but we're going to see a dip in values until they work their way up again. Classic car prices are really funny, because if you look at the way classic car prices are, what you'll do is you'll start off at, let's say, a number. Let's look at the price of 280 SLs. You'll start at a number around 15,000, which is the number around 1995 1997. Then you'll come up to 30. Then you'll come up to 40. Then you'll come up to 50. Then a recession will hit, and they'll go back down to 20, 25. Then they'll work their way up again, but this time the curve up will be a lot steeper and faster. So in no time they'll be at 50 again, and then for a while they were at 75, 80, 90, and then they came back down. But this time the new low was like 45 to 50K. Again, now with COVID, you know, being a double whammy, because we already had we already had some shakeup in the classic car market. Not necessarily a huge value loss, but at the top of the market there was definitely some pain. The bottom of the market grew really well because of Bring a Trailer and some other phenomena. Now we're down at, like, you know, I think we're going to see some 280 SLs for 40K, but in 2 years or so those cars are going to recover back to like probably $75,000, $85,000, $95,000. So that means that right now is the time to buy if you can afford the car and you've always wanted it, and you have a job that you know hasn't been affected by COVID. So here's something else too. Not only do you look at the car whose value has dramatically changed, but you look at the cars that live in the value shadow of that car. That means that 230 SLs, if you've always wanted a Pagoda and you don't care what model it is, are going to be somewhere between 30 and 25K once the whole market gets shaken up and we realize where we're at. This also means that that if you want to buy a really nicely restored car, you're probably going to pay a little bit more money for it. Now, there is one exception to this rule. And this exception is one of the most important exceptions. The best cars are always impervious to the market. So if you want a really well-restored 280 SL or a really original 280 SL, chances are values aren't going to change at all from what they were 2 or 3 years ago. You have to pay top dollar, even old top dollar, to get a really good car. And with extremely special cars like the 280 SL, you know, or 300 SL Roadster and Gullwing, this is always going to be a rule. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Please tap the bell for notifications. I'm really proud to say, by the way, that this is a shop where the best cars go in and out of, so I'm going to be here. I'm not going anywhere, guys. And I want to thank all of you from YouTube, especially, who have sent cars to me for work and continue to do so. That's really kind of you, and I really appreciate it. And I'm always here to help you guys. So if you have any comments, please leave them below. And if you're supporting us in Patreon, we also, you know, are really, really thankful for you guys. And I look forward to seeing some of you in my next live stream as well. Thank you all for tuning in. Tap the bell for notifications, and I will see you in the future. Oh yeah, and if you haven't given us a thumbs up yet, please do so. Thanks.